Welcome. Okay, so uh, while I do this, I'd just like to welcome you to this video. Uh, in the past month or so, as a hobby, really. Uh, so first off, I don't recommend this as a way to consistently make money. Um, just to get off the bat, I'm not some guru or something selling you something. I'm just more wanting to make a video recapping my I think 30 day. So I think it would be today, September 5th, as you can see from right here. From August 5th is when I made my account to bet League of Legends and various esports. I can tell you right now that the results were positive. I think net after all cash out fees and everything. So mean meaning getting money into and out of these sites, getting it into my bank account. I think I'm plus 8,500 US dollars. So it was a very successful month. I'm going to go over the results and then talk a bit about how I plan to um, attack the next month. So let me actually take you to a site that actually be more interesting to see. Um, so there are two sites that they use. Actually, let's just jump right into it. So there are two sites that they use: NitroBetting.eu and now esportsbet.io. The reason I use two sites is because Nitro Betting, for whatever reason, they've. So let me quickly show you how it is. You can see my balance here is 14 market. This is probably like 350. I don't recommend at all. Do not keep um, more too much money on these sites in general. Whether or not it's safe or not, I can't speak for them. At the end of the day, there are people behind these sites that are trying to make a profit. I haven't had any issues with either side so far in any serious way. Um, Maybe they'll put a hold on a withdrawal because of something. They might be like, oh, if you had an IP address, like if you maybe use a VPN by mistake or something. The support in both sites is very good. So there's nothing negative to say, except for the fact that I found that as I became more successful, or as I started to make money, I guess, on natural betting, um, they impose limits on me. So most of the time, I'm going to be betting something like the LCS. Actually, the LCS is the. I'll get into the recommendations. LCS is the last thing that you want to be betting if in terms of competitive league because it's so coin flippy. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's say right here, I want to bet on. I say for example on this game, which is this coming weekend. I don't have a big thesis on this game as yet. Um, on the other side, the odds for 100 Thieves was a little bit better than I was expecting. They actually have EG as favorites for that, so I thought that was a bit. This is strange. So I did put a little bit down on 100 Thieves, but I'm not telling you what to pick. Um, as I'll get into that a bit more. But as you can see, the max bet here is like 6 micro bitcoins, which is like at the time of writing, that's probably like 6 times 19, right? Something like that. So $114. That's just not very much. I'm not going to get into how I do bankroll and stuff because it is a bit of an art, not a science. But when you have a good read on a game or a good feeling about a game, which I would say compared to like the NFL, which is the probably other primary category that I would do gambling on or will do, I guess, because obviously the season starts this Thursday. Um, when you have a good read in League of Legends, particularly, uh, it's a good read. Um, the thing about League, which I really love, is that there's because it's a contained environment, right? There's no referees, there's no fans really. The only thing you have to worry about, the game itself is it's a video game, so there's no way for the outside intervention within the game specifically to occur. That to me, from what I've experienced, it means that the highest skill teams tend to win when they're supposed to. Now, what you find in North America, and in all, let me not say, but in North America, you find that these teams in the LCS, they don't have the highest skill compared to teams in Korea or China or even Europe, although Europe this year is also exhibiting some North American like tendencies. you have a harder time being very convicted in anything. So, anyways, that's just a side note why nitro betting. Okay, so now since if I have a limit on the site of six, then I need another site so I can do more, right? That's pretty much it. Um, I will start by, but I did start with nitro betting. Let me actually show you my actual. This would be the wallet history, so I can show you everything. So as you can see, I started the site on August 5th. It really was just out of boredom, honestly. I was like, okay, I used to bet league in the past. I've had success, but generally when there's a lot going on in my life, I also have things I do for a living. Uh, I get very busy. It's hard to track the in and outs of here, but you can see here, for example, if I start with 10 and withdraw 15, that would mean I made 5. Start with 10 and withdrew 20, that means I made 10. And this was actually a very poor strategy. When I say poor, it was dumb. So actually now you can see this 26 number. So this 26 number across now, I split it across two sides. So before, this 26 number is the amount I've put in and will always keep on in these sides. So 26, that would be 26 times point 0.001. So this is for market bitcoins. I think the price of Bitcoin now is like 19,000. So let's say I keep $500 in there, right? That's money I want to keep on the sides because I don't trust keeping money on sides. We've seen with things like Celsius and all these blockchain sites or crypto-based sites. They're very good for getting money in and out, getting payouts in and out, like within, you can pay into the site usually within 10 minutes. And you can get paid out from the site usually within an hour. I found that natural betting payouts they tend to be like 1 to 3 hours, and when you request a large payout, they find a way to like ask you a question. Versus so far with esports bet, it's been pretty good. The payouts are within 30 minutes, even 20. The blockchain transaction itself usually happens within 10, and then of course after that is just to get confirmed. Anyway, so you can see in these first games, you can see, for example, I made this would be what 5, 10, 10, but it's hard to track. I track it through Fiat, which I'm not going to show you my actual Fiat apps. But from here, you can see now I have 26 in here. I'm just starting to withdraw, right? Now, what I can tell you that happened here for certain is that there was a loss, and I obviously keep more Bitcoin somewhere else. So if this account went to zero, this is a desire to chase, right? In some form. So if I put 83 in, that means net there's 83 minus. I made 9. You can see here I withdrew over 26. So it wasn't that I was. These are likely when I withdraw, they're winnings. Okay. Um, and you can see here I'm withdrawing, so this must have been a bet. So I'm going to actually go over the bets themselves. And you can see again I'm telling you not just on this site, but I've made. You can see I have some big withdrawals. I've made, like I said, around 8,500 this month. I want to actually get into the why, not the actual money, because the thing about this is you're going to win and lose. Okay, so unfortunately, and this is a bit annoying, I think I have to go to a different view. So unfortunately here, you can't see the actual bets. I think if I go into here, I go into history, here we go. Okay, so we should be able to see my entire bet history, and I think, as I said, I'll just put last 3 months again. The first bet should be starting on. Okay, wait. So it should say show, and hopefully we get everything starting from August 28th. Okay, good. So we're going. Okay, we see we're at August 5th. So we're showing everything from the beginning, and as you can see here, definitely I think it was the. So there you go. It was actually the beginning of the Premier League was what got me into it. So the Premier League started as like, okay, I'm gonna be watching these games. I'm an Arsenal fan. Let me start looking at the Premier League. So this was the first bet I made. It was Arsenal win against Crystal Palace. So I made 8.3. The theory here again. So this is how you have to go into sports betting. You have to be watching the games or be following. You can't just guess. Okay. The theory here was that Arsenal had a really good preseason, and I was like, okay, let's see if we can ride the momentum. I follow Arsenal very closely. I think I bet on Liverpool. Liverpool didn't end up winning. To be very honest, by the way, the Premier League is not where I'd recommend you betting the most at all, because in football or soccer, it's a triple outcome thing where you can have a draw, a win, or a loss. Anyone that can tell you they can predict a draw, you're a wizard, and you need to tell me how to predict other things. I don't know how to do it. I can predict wins and I would prefer to predict a win or a loss. Um, so here we have Fulham, which I believe they drew with Liverpool the first match, which was unexpected. But notice I only put down two. What I was doing here is like, okay, I had 1-8. I was like, okay, let me take some of the winnings and put it down. This is kind of bankroll management at a very low level. So we're continuing. I put down three. Okay, good. Similarly, I think at this moment in time, so this is again our live betting. So this is I'm not going to tell you how to do it. It's a much so art. At this particular moment in time, Tottenham I believe was down 1-0, and or they had maybe drew, so they started going down 1-0 to Southampton. Tottenham also had a very good preseason, and it was a very early goal, and I just saw a moment where I was like, okay, I could see Tottenham coming back and winning this match. Again, betting on Chelsea. This I will definitely say this. I am not going to be betting on Chelsea at all for the rest of the season. I did win this bet, but this was prior to me seeing. So after watching these teams play, Chelsea has not been impressive at all. I'm going to shy away from betting on that team. So here, though, I want to spend a lot more time talking about League of Legends. So here, it was a small bet on G2 versus Fnatic. At this time, I was kind of now reacclimating myself with League of Legends. I hadn't been watching it for the past uh, split, really. So all of summer, because most of my time is spent working on my company. But I started, okay, let me doing it. So I'd gotten a bit of, I had really gotten into following the Premier League preseason just because of the transfer market. And if I'm following it, I'm like, okay, again, I bet on Man United. I mean, sorry, Manchester City. Now, though, we go into LCS. And again, here, I'm really just kind of doing name recognition and looking at odds. Look at the market. Um, this stuff again right now I don't at this point in time I don't really have a good feel for um for League of Legends yet. I'm just kind of using these bets as a way, and you can see I'm clearly up at this point. So I'm also consistently withdrawing. This is again within the first few days. I'm consistently withdrawing. I'm like, okay, let me bet small amounts to start getting used to it. Then, of course, you can see here is where I start to learn about the LCK, using picks to get familiar with the games. Uh, Top esports versus Victors 5. This is where you also start getting familiar, and you can start to see some losses coming in. So these are two losses. Top esports is the second best team in China right now, but they did lose to Victor 5. This is a map. This is a match loss. I actually bet on Toss to win this match, but I had bet on Victor 5, so just completely wrong reads here overall. I'm not sure how. Oh no, I bet on. Okay, no lies, because Top Esports should be favored. This was one of their losses, which I watched this, and the takeaway was okay, Top Esports is a good team, but they have their very high variance. This is my takeaway from here. Live Sandbox, from watching this, this was probably more based on the fact that I just thought T1 was overly favored here. So I like the odds for plus 1.5. And again, you can see I actually bet live to win this match, and I did. So this was good. You can see I'm increasing. So up until this point, the first 5 days, you can see it's pretty smooth sailing, I would say. I think with just like anecdotally, I know from my because I have a payout tracker. I know up until these first 5 days, I'm probably up like a few $100, and on top of it, you can just see their wins. This is when, if you go back to the other thing you remember, I had that big deposit. This is like when something bad happened. It was about to happen. So again, some really good stuff with LPL. Um, the thing is though, your takeaway from this is to really try to watch the games. And when you have money in a game, you're trying to watch the games to learn more about them. So at this point in time, if I'm being completely honest, I would go back and listen to probably my favorite streamer. So there's I Will Dominate. He does LPL cold streaming. I would just go to him and listen to his opinions, and then try to filter them into bets because I didn't watch much of LPL, any of LPL. I had never watched regular season. So LPL, by the way, is League of Legends in China. I hadn't watched any of it. So you can see here I'm winning, but whether or not I'm winning, it's mostly to get reads on okay, what's happening. And by the way, you notice the bet numbers are high, right? So remember what I mentioned at the beginning. I could bet 15 fairly easily on some of these games. Uh, Now I can't. I actually wrote into support and they told me, yeah, for whatever reason they put limits on my account. I guess because I'm winning. So it is what it is. This is Valorant. Valorant again. This is now kind of getting into the degenerate phase where it's like, okay, I have winnings. You can see I won a lot, so let me kind of ride it. But I won quite a bit, and actually, okay, so we can start to see a loss. Here we go. So we have, and this is actually directly. So this is the first. This is one of the biggest takeaways that I started to learn. Because what if you actually fast forward to the future, you'll see that LNG just almost qualified for Worlds. They were underrated team. They do have uh, Doinby, who is a world-winning mid laner, world championship winning, but like that team was had such a bad regular season. So having them, watching them, like kind of like destroy me. I'm sure the next bets are probably them, me betting on Weibo and them just LNG just crushing my hopes. I learned from it. I learned from it. So okay, there wasn't much. Uh, ooh, LEC. So now these are European teams. Oh man, the LEC is so bad this year. So bad. Okay. So interesting enough, by the way, we can go into that. But interesting enough. So by the way, notice I could bet 83 on Rogue. Huge. So this, I'm pretty sure what happened here is that I lost 10, 16, 1, 3. So I lost 10, I lost 16. So if I lose 10, lose 16, these are actually pretty big L's. So 10, 16, another 12. Okay, so that's me losing the 26. So from the beginning, this was the 26 that I want to have in the account. And this is me saying, here's a pretty easy way to get it back, right? And then, so I took 83 and won 35. So that means I could take out 9. So that actually explains everything, right? So I could take out 83. I could take back 83, um, and then plus 9. So that's why you see me withdrawing probably 93 because I want to keep the 26 in there. So it actually wasn't a disaster. This could have been a disaster, definitely. Um, but again, if you're watching the games, you're going to have a pretty good feeling. Like if you're watching Excel kind of crumble to Rogue, who had a pedigree, you feel comfortable. You think, hey, these odds are pretty good. And clearly, I thought the odds were great. So I quickly deposited money because like, oh, whoa, here's a way to take advantage. Okay, then these are parlays, which again, to be very honest, I don't do parlays very normally. But I just went to low odds parlays. These probably didn't work for one reason or the other. I think 100 themes. Yeah, I think 100 thieves screwed me both of these because yeah, it was. Notice these are both wins, so 100 thieves screwed me. Like it's 100. So yeah, these are actually pretty major losses, and then I lost Arsenal. So now we're feeling the pressure. So I just won bet 26, and you can see pretty quickly I lose 36. So I'm back down quite a bit. So I'm like, okay. And then so I'm down like four to something here. So then again, so this is where betsize comes into play. There is I forget the name of the approach, but this is why I do like, um, this is okay. So without getting too, I guess, cocky, um, I have a lot more than 26 micro bitcoins. You know what I mean? But this is like keeping that bet size to be what the kind of standard bet size is. It means like when something goes out of control, you have reserves to kind of increase your bet size and hope that, hey, if you are close to 50% at picking these things, um, and you've had a bad run of picks, that you would imagine a good pick is coming at some point, and you can have terrible picks. So then you take a look at the landscape, like, okay, I do have more money. Let me increase my bet size and try to win back. And then as soon as I win back the one I did, I'll try to go back down. So clearly here again, I deposited money, one big hair again. This is why I love, and to be very honest, this is why I was really loving the site at this point in time because like, okay, I have such high limits on these bets. Like this is 4 to 7. I'm like, geez, you're able to bet like a good amount of money on these things. And you can see I won it back, so this completely nullifies everything that just happened. And then to win this now, completely nullified. Not only so this nullified all the losses that we just went through, and then now I have plus 13. So now I have profit, and every time I have profit, I take it out. Um, and you can kind of see here now I'm starting to get a feel. Like it's been a week. I've been watching the games. I get the feel of like, okay, what's happening? I can tell you, getting a feel. I can tell you that I got the feel of Vitality or Chocos. You know what I mean? And the end of choking. And you can see here, getting the feel. You know, understanding picks. Look at this. Like I see, I can see. I'm getting a feel for the games. I'm winning, 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 winning. You know. Um, Next Premier League came around. Uh, this was okay. The Chelsea Tottenham draw. I think it was just something I saw. It wasn't live even. It wasn't a live bet. It was first half bet. Mm, whatever. But the thing is, I have a feel. Say this is the theme again. Like you have a feel. You've been watching the games and you're only betting week on week on things that you've been watching. Best bit of sportsbook advice ever. So we're good. Funnily enough, huh? Great Liverpool again. Just ah. Now what's the takeaway here? Uh, actually, I did bet on Crystal Palace. So you can see here, I took the information from the previous week of Liverpool didn't do that well against in their first game. Plus 1.7. That's a lot of goals to be favored by. For Liverpool at this time, obviously people are still thinking, hey, they're the 97-point Liverpool, and they still might be, but they just had a tough run of it. Um, and now we're gonna learn more about LPL. OMG, toilet water team lost me so much money. Thank. This is I will dominate giving me bad information to be honest. But it's all good. Um, this is probably pretty huge. You can see this is pretty major. So this is like going back down. This is 26, but you're like it's okay. Going back now, LNG. Remember, I had gotten information from last week that LNG beat Weibo. Okay, they have something about them. They have something about them, right? Watch KT Ross. They have something about them. Something about them. Then we have a little bit of Counter Strike here. This is probably just me while watching other games, seeing something like a live line at the moment that I liked. Um, Fine. Counter Strike, be very careful. Notice it's a small amount. Um, okay, not bad, but this is just it. Like, I'm just gonna be very honest. Like, you can see, there's nothing more to say here than I'm watching these games and getting a feel, and understanding, how to watch League. Okay, cool, nice. You know, L. So this is match winner. I probably okay. So yeah, this was actually a crazy one. Um, I think this was actually a big L. The match more because this was like KT was up 2-0 and they lost. Of course, I didn't learn too much from LNG. Sucks. Um, but whatever. These are all small bets. RNG versus EGG. Okay, so this is we're actually getting pretty close to time. So I'm watching all these games. I'm waking up early to watch these games, and EDG steamrolled RNG, steamrolled them if I remember correctly, or did they were unexpected. RNG is MSI champions. These are the world champions, and oh, it just was it's a tough one. But you take the information. Genji versus Liv Max. Okay, they kept it close though. So this is I think this was like the first blast groups. Complexity was playing well, and it was just like in this case you have a huge underdog like clearly outperforming the favorite, and the odds are just like still crazy. Um, Nothing more there. I decided to ride the complexity. I took the information I got, ride complexity. Lost some winnings there, but you're fine. Arsenal. I had been. This was the easiest bet of probably the whole thing. They just destroyed Bournemouth. There was no chance. They scored, I think, within the first 5 minutes, and then that was it. 20. Ah, this was yeah. I mean, this is just watching it. Notice my limits are still so high though. Like, what's going on? Why are they? Why are they? Er, why are they not high anymore? Butcher 5 versus LNG. Again, I learned from this. Notice LNG. They are kind of a bit. They're kind of like my Achilles heel. Um, yeah. The rest is fine. The rest is not much to see here. LNG. So now I hope by now I should have learned from LNG, right? Like they are a good team. They are destroying teams, right? And you can see LNG is the bets are very low, thankfully. So by the way, I don't know. I think just naturally, I guess my bankroll management is pretty good. I don't know why, but it is. Um. Oh yeah, this was a nice one. This is now. I'm not going to. I'm going to. And this is where I can get into. There's no makes no sense in going backwards in time too much on why I picked these games. But I'm doing this kind of as a way to uh, create some, I guess, establish. What's the word? For you guys to understand that I have some type of understanding of what I'm doing. So I'm just going through my bets literally in order, just so you can see that when I do pick a game, there's reasons for it. Yeah, and this was pretty recently. Now you can see this was Manchester United versus Liverpool. They're on a terror or on a farm. Who was at home, and actually Manchester United has now found form, so I don't blame myself too much for that. Here we go, top esports. So this is where I give myself some damn credit. I'd taken all the information in these games, right, and start to implement the LPL. And now I think without question LPL. I wish LPL players kept on going because I have the reads. Top esports versus Edward Gaming. Okay, I have the reads. Top esports is still there. They're those guys. JDG, they're still those guys, and JDG absolutely demolished LNG. And then here now, this is the losers bracket. I'm not going to pick a winner, but I know that these two teams have fight in them. They have gusto. It's not going to be a 3-0. Let's go. And this, remember this bet. This is the bet that, like, oh, give myself credit. What did I say? Top Esports is high variance. JDG actually won this, and JDG and Top Esports, in my opinion, are two of the top four teams in the world at League of Legends. Like these games were so fun to watch. The skill level is insane. Quite frankly, the way that these teams can operate, but JDG has just a little bit something more about them. I don't know if I'm ready to pick them to win Worlds yet, but I know JDG, if they are facing a team and are in the 1.5 to 1.75 odds range, I'm picking them. They are such a good team. So good. Watch the way that they manipulate. Honestly, we're gonna go into. Actually, might even include some clips after this. We're gonna start showing you JDG clips after this because they are so good. The thing is, top is so good as well, but they have a player that has a liability to make mistakes, and he's the ADC called Jackilov. Uh, top is a great team, but just they lack like that killer instinct. So you can see, JDG, all just getting on the map. I got them. Um, the other team that has some crazy killer instinct is flipping Gen G. They won this so easily as well. I didn't even think I woke up to watch it. I just knew they'd win. Okay, now we can see here. Because I was low on top. It's like, EDG, they're coming. They can show me something. Top end up winning. I don't hate these L's. I don't mind, and I take clearly taking profits to onto these. If the thing is, if you're betting with profits, because as again, it's definitely profits because you can see I have some big wins. Like I won many in a row here. So like I'm certainly was betting with profits. I don't mind these. You bet with profits to really potentially have just great weekends. And this LCS, whatever. These are small because I don't really have much of a feel like super hyper and stuff. And you can see we're already getting close to the future, or to the current. So EG versus Cloud9, Southampton versus Chelsea. This was a big annoyance. But this is when I saw again. This was a big bet for me. Arsenal. I just had faith. This was a tough one though. They won this. This was tight, but they gave me a big win. And then, okay, so we're almost there. I guess we need to now go to the last 7 days. So I think we're almost there. Wow, there's actually still quite. Okay, so this is the JDG. Okay, yeah, no, we're definitely there because we saw a lot of these already. So there we go. Here's Arsenal versus Aston Villa. And then this is small one. Okay, so for whatever reason, I thought Top Esports had something about them. So I started to bet on top. This is me being completely, and you know what? If I'm being honest, they almost won, top did, but JDG showed me something. So I don't mind. This was a great learning experience. The learning experience is these two teams are absolutely top level, and JDG is they are those guys. So you can see here. And then this was yeah, I don't know. This was recently. This was like 4 days ago. Huge. I'm not going to lie. This is where if I have to teach myself something, this is where you can get screwed. I decided to go all in on Man United beating Leicester. They did win. It was a very nervy game. This is a big bet. This is 1.01 times 19. Call it 20,000. So this is a $2,000 bet to win. So this is a big bet. And this is likely me getting frustrated at losing probably something even on the other side. So this is I think I started using this site. Yeah, so I started using this site on the 28th. Okay, but I barely use it. So this was JD Gaming, which I won. So you can see wins. This is this is a dumb DJ. I was testing this out here using their stupid thing, so it's fine. They're in setting someone. I was testing it here, one a little bit on. This is again JDG. Okay, so you can see I won some here. And their little thing one. I'm sure I have L's here. Right. So this down one Keo. And then the same series we're talking about here is what, and then I kind of come back to it. Yes. Okay. Cool. So you can see I just started using this site. There's no, like I said, just like these 31 bets. But you can see here I know LNG is gonna start winning. So this it worked out. Um, this is not where I want to be. This is me saying, okay, I'd like to. I think this was me saying, you know what, I like the spot enough, I like the odds enough. it's not where I want to be, especially not in a Premier League game because this could a draw fucks us. You know, if at takeaways, I'm never doing this again. The only reason I probably did this is because of the damn maximums. Because you said my maximum, I would have more than been willing to do this in other games, but not in the Premier League. These are just LCS losses. These are they're easy to take because I'm like it's LCS. This was a small. I mean, it was an upset, but I don't. It doesn't bother me too much because you can see I'll eventually win them back. They're small numbers. You can see I just had that huge Man United win, so like I'm just kind of here. Yeah, these again small numbers. You see, there's more games, more games. Um, at this point, I've watched a lot of esports in the past month. And here you can see the LNG. This is where I start to get it, but you can see they've completely just, oh my god, they've completely just annihilated me with these betting limits. Like, there's no way I'd only bet 3.61 on the LNG when you just heard me say many times that LNG, I learnt from them. There's no way I'd bet this small amount, and this is on September 2nd. I'm sure I had. So this is why I had the second side. So you can see here, put LNG another two. So why is it that they're wow, absolute joke, absolute joke. Because now it's split across two sides, but whatever. It is what it is. um, yeah, and we're just going EG. This was nice. EG pulled this out and kind of. This was the easiest bet of. This is actually the easiest bet of. And this was only a couple days ago. Rogue, they are not those guys either. I will be picking Fnatic over Rogue, without question. Rogue, they just are not them. They're not them. This is just this is a fly on some terrible odds. I'm like, yo, this is doable. This was actually yesterday or day before yesterday. 100 Thieves. They got beat by Cloud9. Not sure why that happened, but they did. And then here we go. We have RNG. So this is where RNG did win a nail biter, and this looks like more or less the most recent ones because these ones are not no big deals. Um, I did bet a little bit on Arsenal, but notice I knew not to bet much on this because Arsenal away from home, Man United were on a run. I actually, this was me. This is a fandom bet. So when I'm a fan of a team, like, and I know I'm betting based on fandom, you notice the numbers not much. The limits on this would have been very high. So you can know I need not to do that. And then the big bet I had. So I'll just go through here. The bets in here are going to be around the same. Like, I lose again 100 Thieves against Cloud9. I won the Vitality. Like, I don't bet different things. That would be so dumb. Unless I was, like, trying to hedge. But you can see here a lot of it is just betting on the same Cloud9 100 Thieves. And then you can see this was... there was no Game 5 here. And then you can see here... Notice now, I'm on the big boy side again because my limits are high. Picked RNG to win. Picked Fnatic to win. Fnatic to win. See, these are all. You see, if there's a known minus here, these are dubs. Um, yeah. So, again, you can, if you want, you can go through. So I guess I lost whatever here, but this was a live bet on EG. Oh, Team Liquid, but you can see over here I also had EG to win. So I think I had EG. This was a game bet, but then the match winner. So I lost two game bets, but then I had the match winner bets here. Yeah, here we go. So the match winner bets, you can see here, I actually end up making like a very little bit amount. Like, you know, small amount. So, that you notice I showed you my tab bet history here. This is just to say, I do have opinions on upcoming games. And I will share them in another video, just because this one's getting a bit long. But just to show you, like I said, I do have a spreadsheet that should outline certain things I don't really want to go into my personal stuff on in video, but I can tell you I did the numbers quite accurately, and I'm plus $8,500. Um, so I had a good month, I guess you could say. I'm a little bit disappointed because there's not many League of Legends games left. The NFL is coming up, but I'm going to take the same approach with NFL as I did with League, which is the first couple weeks I just need to get a feel for the teams. So I'll probably do like $100 bets, small, and then hopefully by like week 5 or 6, I have a good feel of the teams. I'll watch their red zone, and they'll start to know what I'm doing. Of course, by that time, I'll need to ensure to let the lovely the missus know that I'm gonna have my moments of being kind of succumbed by this stuff. But she understands to an extent, as long as I'm not ignoring her. Hopefully that doesn't get in the way. But obviously, I don't want to become a degenerate. If I'm making money though, she understands, right? Anyhow, this is a video just recapping some of the thought processes behind um, my picks. What I'll tell you though is that we only have two. Like I said, I'm not even looking at EU Masters or anything. Just these two games left. I can tell you right now, and it's annoying because these odds opened a lot differently. I'm picking Fnatic to win this series. Rogue, they don't have the minerals. They just don't. This series, this one is the tough one. I picked 100 Thieves, so you can see I have one upcoming bet here. Uh, all. So you can see upcoming bets. I have one relatively small. You can see 4.36. So just to show you, going back to my theory point or my principle, 4.36 plus 7.64. That's 12. And then you can see over here 14. So I've now 12 plus 14 is 26. So I'm still adhering to those principles. Um, of I want to keep 26 live on these sites just because it was about 5 or 600, and then do so. So the only bet I have live across all sites right now is just 100T best of series win, and it's only because the odds are, to me, good because this is really a coin flip game. And in coin flip games, these gambling sites will usually give you like 1.85 to 1.92, something. Okay, this is good. I couldn't tell you who's gonna win this. EG had a pretty shaky series against Team Liquid, where they won kind of through Team Liquid just being bad, and that's a problem with the LCS is that teams are winning not out of being much better, but out of being less worse, less bad, which means there's not much consistency. So I'm probably going to remain not betting high numbers on these. If you notice across, even though I did have a limit, you notice across all the leagues, I didn't bet this massive single number on an LCS team because you can't trust them. Um, what we'll do is in Worlds, we look out in Worlds for these teams to start to maybe have some upset potential or be getting upset versus teams in similar regions or lesser known teams. Rogue is also falls in that category. They are just like an LCS team. They noodle themselves to losses. Fnatic, they're growing minerals. I like what to see, and G2 I like what to see. Then of course with the LPL teams, they are on another level. I firmly believe like the top 8 LPL teams will dump still like most of these teams, except for G2 and maybe Fnatic. So yeah, we'll keep going. Thanks for taking a listen. And I just wanted to go over my month of winnings. Peace.